I'm Katelyn Mattson, and this is the Green Room. Salina Symphony has a couple of really exciting weekends coming up. Up first, they have out of the box favorites from the chamber ensemble Alarm Will Sound. That is this Saturday. And then the first weekend in May, two performances of Mozart's Requiem, also taking them around the state. They are performing not only in Salina, but also in Concordia. And in the Green Room today, I have their maestro, Yaniv Segal. Hello, Yaniv. How are you today?
Hi, Caitlin. Thanks so much for that great introduction.
Well, you're welcome. That's what they pay me for. A good intro. And now I'm handing it off to you. Let's start off talking about Alarm Will Sound. Now, that's the actual name of this ensemble we'll be hearing.
Yeah, this is a contemporary music group that started maybe at this point 20 or so years ago. And they came to prominence by taking this music that was originally written for electronic instruments and transcribing it for acoustic instruments and performing these works live. And from that, they grew and grew and have at this point commissioned probably hundreds of works, and including some of the pieces that we're going to be performing. And I think that this type of music is really emblematic of the variety in contemporary music. And a lot of it is rhythmic, a lot of it is fun to listen to, fun to play, really challenging to play as well. But it comes from this idea of music that is fun and accessible and different. And so I really wanted to bring something like this to Salina.
That's so great. Now, the Out of the Box series, you've started this every year where you have one performance, I think, in the Black Box Theater at Theater Salina. Can you talk about this venue?
Yeah, so this is perfect for this type of concert because it's small, it seats maybe tops around 200 people, and the seating is in a horseshoe shape in the round, if you will. So the musicians are right up front. We're going to be, people can see what we're doing. People will feel like they're a part of it, and especially for contemporary music that needs to be in a place where you can connect with people. This is the perfect venue, and I'm really grateful for our partnership with Michael Spicer and Theater Salina for letting us use this space.
So how many members of the symphony will be performing with the ensemble at this
This is
concert?
this is a good question. Maybe about 15.
Uh-huh.
It's the Alarm Will Sound group is about that many people. They have single strings, single winds, maybe add a few more odd things here and there. Since they have come from a background of electronic music, a lot of their things include electric guitar or bass guitar and a lot of percussion. So there might be 15 players, but there's probably going to be close to 40 different percussion instruments that'll be filling up the space in a variety of ways. And we're also highlighting not just standard written down things, but also this piece called 10,000 Birds, which is by John Luther Adams, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning composer. And this is all about nature. And so the instruments will be representing different bird calls in different parts of the room. We don't know how it's going to go because every time you perform this piece, it's different. And we've selected birds that can be found in Kansas.
Oh, I love this. Oh, what fun for the audience too. I mean, they're just going to be right there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
an
and
intimacy to it.
that piece is questioning. One of the things I wanted to do with Out of the Box series is to say music can be a lot of things. Music can be sitting down and listening to a Mozart Requiem. It can be going to a Broadway show. It can be going to a club or a bar and hearing a band play. And it also can be this kind of aleatoric music that is representing birds and nature. So at the end of the day, like, what is the definition of art leads us to what is the definition of music. And the best definition really is it's what somebody defines as music or what some organized sound. There's some kind of structure to it, uh, and that's also music.
So then one week after this performance, you present Mozart's Requiem in partnership. You're being joined with the Kansas Wesleyan University Philharmonic Choir. You have two performances of this. You have a Saturday evening performance at the Brown Grand Theater in Concordia, and then you turn around and you're back at the Stiefel Theater in Salina on Sunday afternoon. But they're two different programs. I mean, Mozart Requiem, yes, being performed on both, but let's start with Saturday, May the 3rd. What's on that program?
So we're going to start with a piece called Adoration by Florence Price, which your listeners may be familiar with Florence Price or not. She was a composer, was born in 1887, died 1950 something. Excuse me if I don't remember right off the top of my head. And she was a pianist and composer who was neglected for many years because she was black and a woman, and those were no-nos for the classical music world for a long time. And a couple years back, her music was discovered by accident in a decrepit building in Chicago. Literally, somebody found trunks of music under a leaky roof, and there was one section of the roof that was under some rafters that hadn't rotted away, and they discovered these boxes of music. And so now we're like, wow, this is a really amazing composer. So we're going to do a piece of hers called Adoration, which is like in a church service, the adoration that is played on the organ, in this case arranged for strings and our principal clarinetist. And then the Requiem will be it for the Concordia program. And the reason I wanted to do this piece more than once, first of all, is because it's so amazing. You know, it's just Mozart at the height, if it's possible. Like, could you only imagine if he lived past 35 years,
I know.
what more could he have done? So all the work and preparation that the Kansas Wesleyan Choir is putting into it, as well as our musicians, I said we got to do this piece more than once, and we got to share it with more communities. So I'm really glad to be doing this in Concordia. But if people go to that concert and then say, "Hey, this was amazing. I want to hear it again," you're welcome to come down to Salina the following day.
Yeah.
And in our concert here on Sunday, we're adding a concerto by Joseph Bologna. And
We're gonna
oh,
come
sorry.
back and no, we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk more about this violin concerto and what's happening on Sunday. But let's give our listeners an opportunity because I know they are all going to ask for it. When you talk about Mozart's Requiem, they want to hear the Lacrimosa.
Of
We
course.
have it to play for them. So we're going to listen to this and then come back and talk more with Yaniv Segal from the Salina Symphony. Ugh, who wouldn't love that? I don't know of
It's
anybody who wouldn't be affected by that. I wish I could play that for somebody for the first time. I'm gonna go seek out somebody who's never heard it and play it for them so I can see it in their eyes, them experiencing it for the first time.
yeah. I mean, there's so many beautiful moments in that piece uh, that you can't help but being affected.
Yeah, this is the Green Room, and this is Maestro Yaniv Segal, music director of the Salina Symphony. They are performing the Mozart Requiem twice. First, Saturday evening, May the 3rd at 7 o'clock in Concordia at the beautiful Brown Grand Theater. They are performing with the Kansas Wesleyan University Philharmonic Choir. They are performing it again at the Stiefel the next day, Sunday, May the 4th at 4 o'clock. And they're adding something different that you have a violin concerto by Joseph Bologna. Tell me about him and this concerto.
So Bologna is one of these amazing Renaissance people that have lived. Uh, he has a unusual and fascinating life story because he was the son of a French plantation owner and one of the plantation's Creole slaves. So Joseph Bologna Sr., however, uh, took his little son and raised him free, very unusual. Uh, Gave him every benefit he could. So he got riding lessons, he got fencing lessons, and he got violin lessons. And when he was 7, Bologna Sr. brought him to Paris, where before you knew it, he was the champion fencer of all of Europe, and people came from all around to fence with this guy. Meanwhile, he must have been practicing violin because he became the concertmaster or the founder of one of these first orchestras in Paris. He was a conductor, he wrote operas, and he wrote 9 concertos for violin, which would have been for himself. He's a contemporary of Mozart, and they even met when Mozart visited Paris. So uh, it's just an incredible story. You know, in this time in the 1700s, you had to register if you were uh, black in France, and there were maybe 200 black people total living in Paris. And crazy that he could still achieve so much with all the odds stacked against him. And we're lucky to have not all of his music survived. Uh, Unfortunately, his operas are gone except for the overtures. And we have these 9 concertos that have entered the repertoire recently, and they're delightful. They have a abundance of very challenging high writing for the
Mm.
violin. They're they are similar to Mozart, same time period, in that they're kind of crystal clear. You have to just be impeccable with how you perform them, and then they really sparkle.
And the violinist Lun Li, tell us about where does he come from? Where is he visiting us from?
He's based in out of New York City. He finished Juilliard a few years ago, and he comes to us by way of this nonprofit arts management agency called YCA, or Young Concert Artists, and they find young talent, and help launch their careers. A lot of these days, a lot of managements these days kind of have lost some of that career development thing. They like to make sure that whoever they get is marketable. And this agency is really great about finding them opportunities for recitals, commissioning works for them, and partnering them with orchestras. So, for example, our soloist at the end of last year who played accordion, she's from the same agency.
Oh, that's
Uh,
wonderful. So you have a relationship with this
yeah,
agency, the Salina Symphony, and
yeah.
I love that you've kind of incorporated that into your mission as
I
well.
think it's
Because,
really important. Yeah,
and goodness knows, these young musicians are every bit as talented, every bit as technically proficient and brilliant and musical as
yeah.
somebody who, just has the benefit of 20 years on them and a more established career.
Well, it's like the 10,000 birds. We got 10,000 hours. You need to experience playing with a symphony orchestra to really learn how to play with a symphony orchestra as a soloist. It sounds different out there. You have to project differently. You have to be listening and know everything. So cold, their part and your part. And so some of these artists, it's great to grab them before they're too busy, and to provide them the vehicle by which they can hone their craft.
That's wonderful. Okay, so much going on with the Salina Symphony. You can read all about it and read about where to get tickets at salinasymphony.org. salinasymphony.org. Out of the Box, favorites from Alarm Will Sound is this Saturday, April the 26th at 7 in the Theater Salina Black Box Theater. And then Mozart's Requiem is Saturday, May the 3rd at 7 o'clock in the Brown Grand Theater in Concordia. And then Sunday, May the 4th at the Stiefel. Then that Sunday performance is at 4 o'clock. Yaniv Segal, thank you for joining us. You have a busy couple weeks ahead. You're staying in town the whole time, I
I'm
imagine.
st- I'm staying in town, and it's wild to do music that was written in the last couple of years, and then everything that was written hundreds of years ago,
Just do
just
it
in a
all.
span of 2 weeks.
Well, I wish you great success, and I know that you'll be brilliant. The symphony's doing such wonderful things. Congratulations as you conclude this season and look ahead to next. And as always, thank you for coming on and come anytime.
Thanks, anytime.